Hello, and welcome to Sunday Reflections at Cork Unitarian Church. Today's reflection is about how religion can sometimes bring about good in people. So, during decades of traveling internationally on various research projects, Donald E. Miller, a religion professor at the University of Southern California, would occasionally encounter a truly exceptional individual who was addressing a humanitarian issue with passion, fortitude, and vision. While their efforts were typically exceptional, these individuals were typically ordinary people who had been moved to act on a social issue. But rather than simply donating some money or volunteering in their leisure time, they chose to devote their lives heroically to tackling poverty, human rights, or climate change. Their commitment was off the charts compared to most of us. Miller wanted to find out what the role of religion had to do with their steadfast service to others. So in 2018, Miller and a team from the Center for Religious and Civic Culture at the University of Southern California launched a project to profile 100 exceptional humanitarians from around the world. These researchers were seeking to uncover the characteristics of spiritual exemplars. Now, the researchers defined spiritual exemplars as people who are advancing human development, inspired by their religious faith, and sustained by their spiritual practices as they address some of the most challenging problems in the world. And here's how the researchers set about their work. At the beginning of the project, first of all, the researchers invited the public to identify and nominate spiritual exemplars from around the world. Along with that, the researchers also did intensive research of prize winners and humanitarians covered in the global press. The researchers assembled this as a diverse group of spiritual exemplars who represented a broad range of geographies, races, and religions, including individuals who did not adhere to a particular religious tradition. The spiritual exemplars who were included in that database fit these criteria. First, they are living individuals, not saints from the past. Second, the individuals needed to be admired and emulated by others, both within and beyond their communities. Third, the candidates would have demonstrated significant impact related to human flourishing. Fourth, the exemplars would respect human rights, such as those defined by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And finally, number 5, religion needed to play an important role in their lives. Specifically, they were inspired and sustained by spiritual values, beliefs, and practices. And the research team also decided to take a fairly broad definition of religion, including individuals who were deeply spiritual, but not necessarily identifying with institutional religion. Now, the researchers did not compare non-religious humanitarians with spiritually motivated humanitarians. Instead, the researchers were looking for and focused on what is the distinctiveness about spiritually motivated humanitarians. In the end, the combined team of researchers and outside journalists profiled 100 spiritual exemplars from 42 countries and across 13 different faith traditions. The work of these spiritual exemplars included economic development, environmental work, peace building, gender equality, and racial justice. And some common traits across the spiritual exemplars were, in their personality, they exhibited compassion, empathy, justice and equality, selflessness, hope, tolerance, courage, and humility. That sounds pretty good, but they also had some challenges. And some of the common challenges across spiritual exemplars were burnout, vicarious trauma, lack of self-care, loneliness, and compromised family relationships. And as one might expect, these spiritual exemplars were also doing spiritual practices, and the study found that common spiritual practices across spiritual exemplars included prayer, meditation and or silence, community worship, retreats, times where they would get away, study and reflection, and music, whether that is instrumental or hymns and songs. These spiritual exemplars did also have common sources of resilience that they demonstrated. And that's pretty important. So what did they find? Spiritual exemplars were purpose-driven. They acted from religious frameworks. They had daily spiritual practices. They had regular periods of retreat and renewal. They are inspired by the work they do. And they operate from a perspective of hope and possibility. And they have gritty perseverance. The study found that, interestingly enough, spiritual exemplars are not so concerned with the question of what is God. They are more likely to ask, where is God? For spiritual exemplars, the answer often is that God is to be found when serving the poor, the vulnerable, and those who are suffering. Spiritual exemplars are rooted in real-life problems and issues. For them, religion is not an abstract or theoretical word game. For the spiritual exemplars, engaging in spirituality is not simply applying a set of religious values or virtues to a situation. The process is much more dialectic. In the act of doing, that is, responding to human need, one is drawn deeper into an understanding of religion and moral values. So, the conclusions of the study are that religion inspires these spiritual exemplars to engage in humanitarian work. It also sustains them in doing the hard work of engaging difficult issues. There is also a sense in which doing the work has the reciprocal effect. It has the potential to simultaneously transform the individual and their own theology or spiritual understanding. So, future work by that research team will involve looking into how local communities interact with the spiritual exemplars of their work. And today, I'll end this reflection with a very open-ended question. What sustains you in your work? Amen. And now for our blessing. May we always be guided to listen compassionately, to be attentive, caring, and mindful in our presence and care. May we never take for granted the importance of our silence, of our willingness to pause and receive the gift of another's sharing. May we always have a heart to love, eyes to notice indifference, ears willing to listen even to what is not said, and a voice that can speak for the marginalized and shamed. Within our humanity and vulnerability, our unknowing, our fears and anxieties, may we always remember that we are never alone. Until next time, I wish you all peace and blessings.